Welcome to another awesome edition of Tech Trends, the #1 tech show on television. We love tech, and a platform to talk about tech is one that we adore. My name is Chukwemeka Agbata. Do you love QWERTY keyboards? I personally do. We'll take a look at one of the hottest QWERTY keyboard devices later on in the show. And our guest on today's show is a Honorable Minister of Communication Technology, Dr. Mrs. Omobola Johnson, and we will be discussing expanding Nigeria's digital economy. Please sit back and relax as we bring you up to date with some of the latest tech news after this short break.
A number of business owners would argue that CSC registration process is not a pleasant experience, and the new e-registration platform by the federal government is indeed a welcome development. It is a 24-hour online company registration platform that will make it easy to do name availability search, pre-incorporation services such as register and incorporate your business online, and post-incorporation services such as filing changes to your existing business. The platform with the URL services.csc.gov.ng can be accessed from anywhere in the world, and payment can be made using any of the popular card services providers. What is now left to be seen is how the bureaucracy behind CSC will deliver when the orders start rushing in. A Zimbabwean IT startup, WebDev, opened here just over 10 years ago. Its founders never expected things would go well as they did. Hyperinflation in Zimbabwe at the time had increased. The International Monetary Fund estimated it peaked at 500 billion% in December 2008. Following elections in 2008, a power-sharing government sworn in 2009 managed to stabilize the economy and brought inflation under control when it abandoned the Zimbabwean dollar in favor of foreign currencies in 2009. WebDev was at the right place at the right time and built a successful technology solutions business as Zimbabwe emerged from economic crisis. Today, the organization is one of the leading IT companies in the country. WebDev runs 4 businesses: Zimbabwe's first online payment solution, PayNow, custom software development, web hosting, and their most profitable, an online classifieds platform.
Our target market is very much dependent on which of the businesses that we're talking about. We have our largest public-facing business, which is the classifieds business. It's a double-sided business model. So our aim as classifieds.co.zw is to provide a platform whereby consumers and businesses can search for products and services that they need or want on the internet.
The value of business generated online in Zimbabwe is worth over $500 million annually as internet penetration grows, boosted by mobile phone penetration, which is around 40%, according to technology commentator TechZim. The revenue comes from areas such as social network advertising and e-commerce, as well as online ventures led by Zimbabweans in the diaspora and foreign entrepreneurs. Economic gains from rising internet usage are likely to be strong. For every 10 percentage point rise in broadband internet penetration, economic growth increases by 1.4 percentage points. That's according to the World Bank. WebDev capitalized on Zimbabwe's new market while the economy was in recovery. The Southern African country provided a good test for the small company. If they could make it here, they could make it anywhere on the continent.
As technology providers, I believe that we can do better. And I think where we are right now, although we have a bright future with a lot of the young entrepreneurs that are coming into the space, we still have the issue of specialization in Zim. Everybody is a generalist because they've needed to survive pretty tough economic times.
Markets like Nigeria, South Africa, and Kenya lead the way in tech business growth in Africa. WebDev is now focusing on tapping new grounds in places like Zambia and Botswana, where they can grow and improve the customer experience, especially now that the situation at home has businesses worried again. Zimbabwe's economy bounced back for 3 years after it dropped its own currency and adopted the dollar, but it has since stagnated as companies have failed to find the cash to grow. Zimbabwe is currently rolling out its fiber cable, which is taking internet connection to people's homes, mostly in the capital, Harare. The economic conditions in the country means that the profit from internet business will not reach the masses for years, but tech entrepreneurs are not wasting any time in laying foundations for the future.
CEO John Chen spent a few minutes introducing the BlackBerry Classic and emphasized it's not just a rehash of old technology. Everything has been upgraded, he said, saying the only thing we've kept is the keyboard and reintroduced the navigation keys and trackpad. Chen said it was a challenge to integrate these classic options into the new BlackBerry 10 operating system. BlackBerry has equipped the Classic with a 3.5-inch touchscreen, which features a 720 by 720 pixel resolution and 294 pixel density, all surrounded by a familiar-looking and very traditional BlackBerry body shell. If you love the BlackBerry Bold, chances are you will fall for the Classic. A 4-line physical QWERTY keyboard sits below the screen, and a strip of navigation keys separates the two. Built for speedy navigation, the touchscreen navigation keys and the trackpad are designed to work together. Many keyboard shortcuts have been built in. Press R to quickly reply, for example. BlackBerry boasts its keyboard has been engineered for fast typists and is 4 times more accurate than typing on a touchscreen BB10 phone. During the presentation, the Classic was repeatedly pitched towards former BlackBerry owners rather than at new users, and almost always described as a business device. The Classic has an 8-megapixel autofocus rear camera and a basic 2-megapixel selfie cam in the front. A dual-core 1.5 GHz Snapdragon S4 processor and a healthy 2 GB of RAM supply the process power. A total of 16 GB storage space comes as standard, but there is a micro SD card slot to increase this amount up to 120 GB. It comes installed with the latest version of the BB10 operating system 10.3.1. In addition to a few new features, it comes with the Amazon Android App Store as standard, along with the BlackBerry App Store. There are 3 zoom levels to make sure Android apps suit the Classic screen. Inside is a battery, which should return an average of 22 hours use before needing a recharge, plus Bluetooth 4.0, 4GB LTE connectivity, Wi-Fi, an FM radio, and the NFC BlackBerry tag technology. The BlackBerry Classic is an ideal device for some and a big no-no for others. If you love the old-school keyboard and can manage its average performance, then it will make a good buy. Otherwise, you want something more modern.
These are indeed interesting times for Nigeria's tech industry, an industry that was not in existence a decade ago and now has influence such that industries that have hitherto been considered untouchable are being disrupted by young startup companies. Yes, the industry has grown, but certainly it can be better. And for this to happen, we have to make broadband more available and less expensive, plus put the right policies in place to protect all parties in this growing digital economy. To discuss the topic, expanding Nigeria's digital economy, is the Honorable Minister of Communication Technology, Dr. Mrs. Omobola Johnson. She holds a bachelor's degree in electrical and electronic engineering from the University of Manchester and a master's degree in digital electronics from King's College London and a doctorate from Cranfield University. She joined Accenture, an international management consulting firm, in 1985 and was in Accenture for 25 years, 5 as country managing director. She has over 25 years consulting experience, and she's also the founding chairperson and member of board of trustees of Women in Management and Business, WIMBIS. Hello, Minister. Welcome to the show.
Thank you very much. Thank you for inviting me.
There is a perceived dearth of skills in the industry, which can be linked to the educational sector. What is being done about that?
So quite a lot is being done. Maybe I should just explain what we mean by local content. In 2011, when we did an assessment of the industry, we found that, yes, we have a very successful ICT industry, but it was dominated by multinationals, and the local companies were really not participating that actively or in a way that was meaningful. And so what we did was that we actually created what we called guidelines to increase the contribution of local companies, to level the playing field when it came to the participation of local companies. And so what we're trying to do is to increase from an economic perspective. It's not just about creating more Nigerian companies in the ICT sector. It's actually increasing the domestic value add of the ICT sector. So things like, right now we import most of our mobile phones, we import most of the inputs into the ICT sector are imported. And we're saying we have the capacity to manufacture these things locally. Even skills, the skills are imported or were imported. We have the capacity to train Nigerians to actually work in the ICT sector at both the lowest end of the sector and the highest end of the sector. So that's what the local content policy is all about. And we're seeing some good traction here. Just 2 weeks ago, 2 plants came on stream. The main one, the main one, Tier 3 data center. There's another Tier 3 data center, the rack center. The smart card manufacturing plant came on stream. These are major investments into this industry. And what it means is that for those 2 companies I've mentioned, and also the rack center and a number of other manufacturing, wholly Nigerian, the investment was completely Nigerian, managed by Nigerians, still a few expatriates here and there. And that's what we want to see with our local content policy. More Nigerian companies participating more actively and more meaningfully in this very important sector.
Right of way has remained a burning issue. Have we made progress in this regards?
We've made progress from the federal perspective. So right now, if you're laying fiber on a federal road, it costs you 14,500 per kilometer. This is compared with some state governments that are charging anything from 4 to 6 million naira per kilometer. So you can see we've made progress on the federal side. Now with the state side, what we're doing is that we have this Smart States initiative. And what it is that we're asking state governments to sign an MOU with the ministry on behalf of the industry that will bring down the cost of right-of-way, even if it's not to 14,500, but to something that is more, that actually makes sense from a commercial point of view. So with right-of-way, we're asking them to bring down the cost of that right-of-way. Now, a number of states have signed up to this Smart State initiative, the Lagos State, Bayelsa State, and what they've done is actually at least halved the cost of the right-of-way. So we're talking about anything from 500,000 naira to 800,000 naira per kilometer, which is not as low as federal government, but at least we're making some progress there. It's a very laborious process because what it means is that we have to negotiate with 36 state governments and the Federal Capital Territory to bring this down to a reasonable cost.